Hello everybody and welcome to my 2025 journal flip through. I'm so excited to show you everything that I've been getting up to in my journal in the second half of the year. If you would like to see what I got up to in my journal in the first half of the year, I do have a mid-year flip through that you guys can go check out. But today I will be showing you every spread that I've made since about July, I think. And I'm also going to show you my beginning of the year spreads so you can see how they kind of turned out now that the year is basically over. So I really hope you guys enjoy. Oh, also, if you guys want to know, my journal is from Notebook Therapy. This is in their original size. Like all of my journals are from Notebook Therapy. I really like them. I really like all of their designs. They're always very cute. So in case you wanted to know, there we go. It's like a little bit smaller than normal bullet journals. It's like a 5.5 by 7-ish. But I really enjoy working with this smaller size. So just to let you know, that's kind of what we're using today. So let me just jump on into it. I feel like I don't really have anything else to say. And let's look at some of my beginning of the year spreads now that they have been filled in. So first I just have, title page New Year spread that I made, which I have already shown you, but here's the beginning of my beginning of the year spreads. 2025 is definitely one of my favorite themes that I've done in my reading journal. I love the colors, I love the gold accents. It just is so pleasing to my eye to look through, so I'm not mad that we're looking through these again. So here's my completed bookshelf spread. I think maybe this was completed when I did my mid-year flip through, so we will just move on over. I also have my series tracker. I actually don't know if I have read any more. Oh no, I've read some more of like the Anne of Green Gables series since the last time we talked. I think I read some more of the Hunger Games series. I definitely have read one other Murderbot book, which we can go ahead and fill in. I've read 5 out of the 7 that are currently out, and I also read one more of the Gravekeeper series, so we do have a couple of updates to do. I think as for the rest of them, I think those are the only series that I've really made any progress on, which is not great and not what I was going for. But I'm excited for all my series reading in 2026, so we'll just hope for the best there. Then we have my favorites of the month and my yearly reading goals. I did forget to print out the photo for November, and I haven't finished my December reading yet, so I don't know what I'm gonna put there yet. So we'll just move on from that. We'll also move on from my reading goals because I think I have kind of filled in what I can. And I must say, even though 2025 wasn't my best reading year, looking at this spread does make me very happy with all of the reading that I did accomplish throughout the year. So many of these books were so lovely. So many of them I loved so much. My only kind of regret with this page is the fact that for some of these months, I definitely do have like a couple of books that could have gone in for like my favorites of every month. Specifically for September, I probably should have chosen Anne of the Island as my favorite book, but I already have 2 of the Anne books on here already, so I felt like putting a third on there was a little bit overkill. And I also really like Don't Let the Forest In, so we can kind of just imagine September as like a little, like a split between the 2. And then for November, my favorite was Hazelthorn, also by C.G. Drews, so a lot of repeat authors on here for sure, like a lot of Ella Montgomery, couple of C.G. Drews going on. And then for December, I feel like maybe it'll either be Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh, or I'm currently doing a reread of The Starless Sea, which has been so lovely. So even though it is a reread, I would still put it on the list. I do have a couple of rereads on here already because I don't mind putting rereads on my top books of every single month kind of spread. So very happy I have this spread to give me a little bit of an overview of my reading for the year. And then for my 2025 TBR, did I do very well on this? No. I think I've read 8 out of the 15 books that are on this list, and I did try 2 of them. I did DNF Depend and The Once and Future Witches, so theoretically it's kind of like 10 out of 15, which 66% isn't the best really. But I think it might be better than I did last year, like 2024, so you know what, I'm gonna consider this a win because what else can you do? Then next up I have my new releases by month. I've definitely been updating this throughout the year, and there are a couple of like newer things that came out towards the end of the year that I just haven't gotten around to yet. I feel like I didn't do the best job at keeping up with new releases. I think I definitely read a bunch of them that came out in the first half of the year, but in the second half of the year, I'd say it could be better, but it also doesn't really matter too much because I can read them at any time. So, and then the last spread that I want to show you guys is my flop for the year because I have this little reading tracker calendar thing, and for the first 4 months it looks great. It looks like I was keeping up with it well. However, looks can be deceiving because when I flip this up, there's absolutely nothing written on it. My initial plan was to go back through and like fill these in because I think my read dates are pretty accurate on Goodreads, but I simply did not have it in me. And also sometimes spreads just aren't really as functional as you want them to be, so I kind of just gave up on it because going back through and filling it in didn't really sound that fun. And I want to keep my journaling fun. I just want to do spreads that I like to do. It doesn't really matter if I go back through and fill this in. Also, you can't see it. Unless you know to like flip these up, you'd never realize I didn't do the rest of them. So a little bit of a flop, but still very satisfying to look at if you don't open it up. So now that we've gone through my beginning of the year spreads, we can take a look at my second half of the year spreads. I think maybe my mid-year check-in was the last spread that I showed you guys in my mid-year flip through. So we are going to be moving on from here. So I have a spread that I did for the Love's Academic series by India Holton. I absolutely love this series, so I decided to kind of do some bookshelves over here with some things that kind of correspond to the book. So we have like a little bird cage for the ornithologist field guide to love, and I have a little globe for the geographer's map to romance. I really would like to do more spreads with these little like bookshelves on the side because it was really fun to put these together. Next up, I have my July spread. This actually ends up being a like spread format that I use a lot throughout the year. It was just a really easy way to do my monthly spread without it requiring too much forethought. It was just something that could be put together like really easily, and it kind of has everything that I needed to. So it has my TBR, my book spread, and my format stats, and then I can just do like a little bit of journaling about the month and my TBR and whatnot. So you will see this format a lot throughout the year. I think I've done it for like at least half of the rest of the month, so she was a winner, I will say. But I really love the color palette for this. I really like this sticker sheet. I believe it is from Latoon store on Etsy, maybe? I will link their shop down below because I have a ton of stickers from them throughout my journal, so if you guys want to check them out, I will leave a little link down below. But July was a pretty decent reading month. I read a lot of books that I really liked, some that I didn't like as much, but I feel like that's kind of just how it goes when I read more books per month because I don't think this is all of the books that I ended up reading in July. So we had some hits and we had some misses, but I think my favorite book of July was the Sarah Beth Durst book. What's it called? The Enchanted Greenhouse. That one was really fun. So really liked my reading for July. Also in July, Summerween happened, which is my favorite readathon to partake in every single year. It is hosted by Gabby Reads. Thank you, Gabby Reads, for doing such a stunning spooky readathon in the middle of the summer. I will never get over how much I love Summerween. And I like to go all out for Summerween, so I have like my little to-do list, I have a little bit of info about it, have all the prompts for it, my TBR, and I love getting to bust out my spooky stickers in the middle of the summer, so this was really, really fun to put together. Then I have my quarter 2 wrap-up. I started doing these like quarterly wrap-up spreads this year, which will be featured in my reading journal for next year. I love these spreads so much. Previously in my reading journals, I've had pages where I put all of the book covers of the books that I read, and I kind of just got tired of doing those spreads. I would just put them sporadically throughout the journal. I wouldn't really put like a title on them anymore because I just didn't care. So I just had like random pages of book covers, and like I knew they were book covers that I had read, but I feel like looking at it, you wouldn't exactly realize that's what it was, and it kind of just lost the functionality for me. So I decided doing like these quarterly wrap-ups would be a little bit more fun, and I love putting these together. Being able to see every book that I've read in a 3-month period on one spread is very handy, and I would definitely recommend if you guys want like some new spreads to do in your reading journal. I also have the cutest cat sticker sheet that I found on eBay, and I'm so obsessed with it, and I need to go track down another one because they're so cute. Then next up I have my August setup. As you can see, very, very similar to, well, basically the same thing as my July setup. I decided to go with like a kind of cozy fall adjacent sticker sheet theme because, you know, it was August, so it was really hot, but I was also craving fall like I am every single month of the year. So I thought this was a nice transitional theme for August, and I really, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this. But again, I don't really have much to say about this spread because it's the same as my July spread. Then I have my second like bookshelf spread that I did for the year, and for this one I decided to make it like a little bit spooky, a little bit gothic. So we have like a lot of candles and a lot of spider webs. I definitely will be doing a spooky bookshelf spread like this for 2026 at some point later in the year. And I would also like to maybe try a different window style. I want to keep the outline of the window the same, but I've seen some people do some really cool stuff with this. If you guys don't know, this original spread is inspired by Mandy Journals over on Instagram. I love all of her stuff so much, and that's where this like general bookshelf idea came from that so many of us are doing now. But I've seen some people do some really cool things with their windows. I've seen like stained glass windows. I've seen people who put like little cats on their windowsill. So I want to try doing something a little bit more creative, maybe like later next year, because I've already made my 2026 bookshelf spread, which that one I wanted to be like very book heavy. But I think later in the year next year, I'll have a little bit more room to do like some more doodles and whatnot on it. So I definitely want to try something a little bit different. Then I have my Ghost of Your Former Shelf readathon. This was one of my Patreon readathons that I did last year, where it was kind of just all about reading down your TBR. I did some more bookshelves. I chose some like spooky stickers because it's like the Ghost of Your Former Shelf kind of thing, so I wanted to lean into that spooky kind of vibe it sort of had going on. And this isn't really one of my favorite spreads. I feel like having all of the color concentrated in the middle and not really having any on either side looks a little bit odd to me. I almost wish I would have colored the books in with more neutral colors, so like no pinks and greens, maybe just like shades of gray almost, just so it was balanced out a little bit nicer. But I want to do this general setup again because I do like this. Then next up I have what is the start of probably all of my fall spreads. I do love making journal spreads in my journal for the fall. Mainly I just love being able to bust out all of the fall and Halloween stickers that I collect throughout the year, so I love all of my fall spreads. But this isn't really reading related. Not every single journal in my reading journal is reading related. Most of them are, but like some of them are not. But these are all of the shows, movies, and then books that I want to like consume in the fall. So like the books doesn't exactly go under the fall to watch thing, but like just pretend it makes sense, okay? I feel like I did not get to all of the movies that I wanted to watch this year, which is a shame, but I'll just have to try harder next year, I guess. Then next up, this is my favorite monthly spread that I did all year. I love the apple theme so much, and I need to get more apple stickers to use next fall because I just think they're so cute. The red and the green apples with like some of the peeled and eaten ones, I just think is so cute with the little fall stickers. Oh, I love this spread so much. I also did some really great reading in September. Two of my favorite books of the year I read in September. So this spread is one of my absolute favorites. I don't know if it's my favorite spread that I've done in my reading journal, but it's my favorite monthly setup that I've done in my reading journal. And then after that, I have a little spread for when Cass came to visit me in, I think it was in September. Was it in October? Yeah, sometime in the fall. But I just have like a bunch of photos. I have the playlist, just like a bunch of songs that we were listening to while she was here, so I printed out their little Spotify codes and I put them on here. I also have the Clover washi tape because obviously, if you know, I had to, and I really like how this spread turned out. Then I have one of my other favorite spreads that I've done this year, which is my spread for Anne of the Island. I, obviously, as I've said a couple of times, I absolutely loved Anne of the Island, so I wanted to make a very autumnal, cute fall spread for Anne of the Island. I know the book isn't inherently autumnal really, but like all of these covers were kind of giving me autumn vibes. So that's kind of just what I went for, and I love how this turned out so much. I printed out a couple of photos from Pinterest, so I have like some more university leaning ones over here, and then like some Green Gables leaning ones over here. I also put a quote which says, "But everything in the landscape around them spoke of autumn," because duh, oh, it's so good. Guys, I love Anne of the Island so much. And I'm so happy that I have this spread to commemorate her. It was so good. Then next up, I have my books to read this autumn spread, or my autumn TBR spread. I have read all three of these. I did not get around to reading these in autumn, but that's okay, because the spread was so much fun to put together. I've made all of my seasonal TBR spreads in this style. I also did my winter one in this style, which you will see in a little bit, but I have had so much fun kind of coming up with just like different spread formats to do this year. I feel like I've done a decent job at like switching things up a little bit, and this is a spread format that is, you know, it's made a couple of appearances throughout the journal for sure. Also, sorry if the sun's being a little bit aggressive right now. I don't know how to make it stop. Yeah, autumn TBR spread, really happy with how this one turned out. Then I have my autumn bucket list. I feel like I did do a decent job with my autumn bucket list, so I'm very happy with that. I don't really have anything else to say about it, but it was fun to put together. Then I have my October setup. Obviously have like a million books I want to read every single October. I also have a million Halloween stickers that I need to use every October. So I kind of put on as many as I could. I really like all the colors and the stickers and whatnot that's on the spread, so big fan of my October setup. Then next up I have my quarter 3 wrap up. So these are all of the books that I read in, was it July through September, I guess? A lot of good books that I read in quarter 3. I also really like the layout of this one, like where things are positioned on the page. I like this a lot, and I'm probably gonna try and mimic this next year for one of my quarter wrap-ups as well. Then next up I have another not reading related spread, but I went to Austin for the day in October to go see a 17 concert, so I wanted to kind of, you know, commemorate the day. So I mimicked the logo for their tour, I put a bunch of photos on the spread, and I also put the receipts from the couple of places that I went. So I went to Book People, which is a bookstore, and I went to Gauge Yarn, which is a yarn shop, as you may be able to assume. Then next up I have my November setup, which I went with like a bread theme because the stickers are really cute, obviously. I feel like I did some okay reading in November. Not my best reading month, but I did read a couple of books that I really enjoyed, like Rebecca and Hazelthorn. I mean, the rest of them are fine, but I don't know if I'd say I loved the rest of them, but like those were good. Then next up I have my end of the year reading plans, which oh, Oh no, it's so bad. I did such a terrible job on my like 10 before the end TBR. As I've said many times, I'm sure you're tired of me talking about it, but December was such a stressful month. But the last like bit of November and the first 2/3 of December sucked. I was so busy. So much stuff to do. I was so stressed out. I had no time to do any reading. So my reading plans kind of fell by the wayside, but I'm okay with that. It's fine. I can read all of these books next year, and you guys probably weren't anticipating me following through on my end of year TBR anyway, so it all works out. It's all fine. So we'll just casually move on because I've literally only read 2 of these. 3. Next up, I have a spread that I made for Hazelthorn, which I'm a really big fan of. This is another one of my favorite spreads of the year. This actually might just be my favorite spread of the year in general that I made, because how could it not be? Like, all of the green, all of the leaves. I used some photos from Howl's Moving Castle, like of Howl's bedroom, because it kind of gave me like the same vibe as the manor in Hazelthorn, like just in my mind it did. And this was so much fun to put together because I did really enjoy Hazelthorn, so we'll move on though. Then I have my December TBR. I do have a couple of books that I need to add on to my books read list because I have read like 4 books maybe since I last updated this. I think after The Invisible Man, I read Holiday Romance. I also read Winter Story, and I've also read Snowed In. All right, so I have room for 1 more book. I cannot read more than 1 more book in these last 2 days of the year, so we'll see how that goes. But I really love the color palette for December. Just like blues and purples feel very December to me, so I had to kind of like lean into that a little bit. And these stickers, like the little bunny one, the one behind it, and then this one of this like Arctic fox, are from Margonia Sully, maybe? I bought these off of her Etsy shop. I think she also has like a normal website maybe. And she has the cutest illustrations for her stickers. I love them so much, and I would highly recommend you guys check them out. I feel like you'd like them. Then after my December setup, I have my winter TBR. Honestly, my winter TBR is not one of my favorite spreads that I've done. I think it looks fine, but I just don't feel like the stickers go together as well as my other like seasonal TBR spreads. But I still think it's cute. It was still very fun to put together, so we'll just move on. Oh, this is the one spread in my journal that I have not done, and this is my quarter 4 wrap up because I have not finished all of my reading for the 4th quarter of the year. So don't mind that, because after that we have my top books of the year spread. These little cat stickers are again from Margonia Sully. So cute, so cute. But I decided to put my top 4 books of the year on the spread, do a little bit of writing about them, and then like a little bit of writing about my year in general. I wanted this to kind of look similar to my mid-year check-in, but like a little bit different, and I feel like I accomplished that well. And I'm just really happy with how this turned out. I like the colors, I like the stickers, I like the layout, so these are my top books of the year. I do have a video where I like talk more in depth about these though, if you want to see that. Then after that, I have my end of the year and this journal page, which I wanted to make, which has this very cute illustration from The Wind in the Willows, which says good wishes for Christmas and the New Year. And I kind of just wanted to make this like the focal point of this page because I really liked this illustration. I thought it was so cute. And I don't really do many pages like this where it like doesn't have much of a function, I guess. But I kind of just wanted to make a little spread. I also wanted to do a little bit of journaling about the year, so I did that over here with like some little confetti stickers, which I thought would fit the New Year theme really well. So I'm a big fan of this page, and I want to maybe do more pages like this, kind of just have like maybe a photo or a quote or whatever on one side, and then just do like some little journaling on the other side. And then the last page, I think this is the last page, yeah, in my journal is my yearly fave. So it's kind of like a year in review sort of thing. I decided to do top 5 or top 6 just general things in my life. So I have like top 5 songs, top 6 YouTube channels. Also, pretend that this does not say channels. Sometimes when I start like writing things in like cursive, I get a little bit lost in it. So sometimes it doesn't turn out saying exactly what I want it to, but it's okay. I mean, I know I pointed it out, but like, don't talk about it. I have my top 5 books, my top 5 projects that I made this year, top 4 movies. I don't really watch a lot of movies, so I didn't really have like a ton to put there. And then my top 5 TV series. I just wanted a spread that would be really nice to look at later so I could figure out maybe what my favorite songs of the year were or my favorite movies or whatever. So I'm really happy that I made a little yearly overview spread. But that does take us to the end of my journal. My camera's swiftly running out of storage, so I'm gonna do this outro very quickly. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed getting a look at my journal. As I've said many times, I love sharing my journal with you guys, so I'm happy that you guys like seeing it as well. I'd love to know if you guys have done any journaling. Do you have any fun spreads that you made this year? Please tell me about them. Also, if you're ever looking for more journaling content from me, I do bi-monthly journaling content on my Patreon. Some of these spreads were made in those videos, so if you want to see them in the process of being made, you could check that out. But with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having an amazing end I think I'm posting this on the last of the year, so end of your 2025, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!